Hello everybody, it's Brian for GadgetUnit.com, and in today's video I'll be bringing you episode 77 of my question and answer series. I have a fair number of questions to go through in this video, so starting at the bottom with Jared. How's the screen on the Nexus 5? Are the colors washed out? I think the screen on the Nexus 5 was really good. I mean, it has great viewing angles as you would expect it to. Outdoors in direct sunlight, you can see it just fine, unlike the Galaxy S4's display. Of course, you don't have to turn the brightness up all the way either, which is always a plus. The colors are well saturated, they're not oversaturated like most Samsung displays are. I think the display on the Nexus 5 is a really good example of what a display should be, and if anything, that's probably the best feature of the Nexus 5 that I could think of, other than its price, I suppose. So from Arturo Martinez, what are the thoughts on the Ouya game console? And here it is. I think it's a really good idea. I think they've executed it well as well. The design of the console and the controller are definitely unique. That will set itself apart, at least for the most part, from the competition. It's only $100, and there are plenty of quality Android games that you can play on your television. Some of them are kind of more indie arcade type games, but there are definitely more console oriented games as well that you would find on some of the bigger platforms. I think it's a good idea. It seems like they've done it right. So to me, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a great idea. Would I get it? No, because I don't really care for most of the games that they offer, and that's pretty much it. Also from Arturo Martinez, what is more preferable, the Nexus 5 or the iPhone 5S? So I can't really pick one over the two, unless if you're purely looking for something with a bigger display. Obviously the Nexus 5 is definitely the choice for you. I think that, and of course if you want Android, then of course the Nexus 5 would be the right choice, but I think for most people the iPhone 5S is still a good way to go. If you want to save money for an off-contract phone, obviously the Nexus 5 would be better because it's at least $300 cheaper than an off-contract 5S. So it really just depends. Do you want iOS or Android? That'll pretty much answer your question right there. Or are you open to different operating systems, but you want something with a bigger display? Okay, in that case, the Nexus 5 would be it. Do you want something that's cheaper? Nexus 5 wins again. It just really depends on your criteria for a smartphone might be. So I can't really choose one over the other for most people, but for me personally, it's definitely the iPhone. I mean, the Nexus 5 is a fantastic device. For me, I mean, Android is definitely getting there in terms of simplicity and design. It's not quite there yet, and really for me, I'm really used to the one-handed operation that the iPhone provides. The Nexus 5 kind of gives you that, but of course if you want to reach something in the complete opposite corner, that's definitely hard to do. Typing with just your thumb is also sometimes quite a bit difficult, but for me, it's definitely the iPhone 5 or 5S. Next up, also from Arturo Martinez, how can one get Adobe Flash Player 9 on Android 4.1? Well, if you Google that, it should tell you how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I've never had to, so I'm not quite sure, but it pretty much seems like you are able to do that. From Cool Tiger Dude, what happened when you replaced your iPhone's battery? Well, as I mentioned in the previous video, in the 5S unboxing video, basically the home button and the power buttons just stopped working. I don't know why, but all the cabling and things look just fine, so whatever. And from Arturo Martinez, what are your thoughts on Honored, the website that can be linked to different gaming profiles? I still haven't really figured out what you're referring to, so if you want to message me a link to some sources, I could take a look at it, but I don't really know how to answer your question. From Vincent Pagilinan, can you recommend me a great micro SD card? I haven't really gone shopping for SD cards ever, so I'm not really sure if I can recommend you one. So I'm unfortunately unable to answer your question. From Cabalan T, can you do an iPhone setup video again, please? That's something I plan on doing next week, so be on the lookout for that. It'll probably be out on not this coming Friday, but Friday the 20th is what I'm looking for. Computer Kid 1, I'm looking at two tablets. One is the iPad mini 32 gig and the other is the HP Pavilion X2. The Pavilion is running Windows 8 just like a Surface but better. What should I buy? I plan on using the tablet computer for word processing and watching YouTube and to do some email and play some games. So pretty much the typical set of tablet tasks. I mean, you can't go wrong with getting an iPad mini. Of course, for a lot of tasks, having a bigger screen is just so much nicer to be able to view things bigger. Of course, you could just move your iPad closer to your face, but that just seems slightly odd. So I think it would be better to get something with a bigger display, which the Pavilion X2 gives you, at least an 11-inch display, from what I think. So this is one of those detachable hybrids starting at $600. So it's definitely more money than an iPad mini. This will give you far more features. I don't know anything about the specs. This page itself took an extremely long time to load, or maybe that was just something going wrong with their website or my internet, but starting at $600, you know, I think for the price, just getting an iPad will be a lot better. Of course, the quality of tablet applications that you'll find on iOS are going to be much better than anything else out there, even Windows. So I think that ultimately you will be more happier and more satisfied by getting an iOS tablet. This is what I usually tell most people, because really the return rate for Android and Windows tablets are definitely high, and just the overall ecosystem and customer satisfaction and support and all those other things really do make up for the iPad's somewhat high price. So I think that overall, for the tasks you've told me you're going to be doing with your tablet, that getting an iPad would be a much better choice. So there you go. From Arturo Martinez, is there a way to get paid for downloading apps on Android devices? I don't know. I'm pretty sure there are, because if there are ways for iOS, there most certainly should be ways for Android. That's not really something I'm going to cover, because I don't really think that you should be getting paid for downloading apps, you know, unless you were to provide honest feedback that's not rigged for the sake of being nice just for getting something in return. From Caberland T, can you notice the speed difference from the iPhone 5 to the 5S? You know, honestly, no, because I don't know. I mean, I don't really, the apps I typically open on my iPhone 5 are pretty low-end apps. They're not high-end games or anything that's more graphically or resource intensive. So pretty much everything I ran on my iPhone 5 is almost identical in terms of performance to the iPhone 5S. There are a couple of apps such as Chrome that I open all the time on my iPhone 5, and when you first launch it up, it does take a little bit of time. On the 5S, I did notice a noticeable speed performance increase, so that's kind of nice. But for the most part, for day-to-day apps like Twitter, or in my case Tweetbot, emailing, things like that, most people probably won't notice any difference at all. Last question from Adrian T. What budget case for the iPhone 5S would you recommend? I would recommend pretty much anything that I sell over on choicecase.com, because I know that the cases work and they are pretty good, especially for the incredibly low prices. And that's another thing, everything here is really cheap. And sometimes people will say you get what you pay for, but I mean, it's just an iPhone case. It's not like buying a car or a house or things like that. So all of these cases I have in my closet right next to me, and I think that really for budget cases, this is a great way to go. I'm just kind of shocked still that these things just aren't flying out of my house. You know, they're really good cases, they're simple cases, they're cheap, but whatever. So that would be my answer for you, to go to choicecase.com and take a look at the cases that are sold there. So that is it with episode 77 of my question and answer series. If you have any questions about this or anything else, oops, that's the wrong outro to this video. If you have any questions that you would like me to try to answer for next week's video, go ahead and leave those down below in the comments area. But that's it with the video. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you all very soon.